Imagine selling a business for about $2 million, years of work, and finally coming to a liquidity event, aka money. And you would think that freedom is what comes next. But for my client, that's not what happened. Instead, the exit triggered a chain of tax and investment mistakes that almost wiped out all the money that they've made, everything they've built. And I'm going to show you exactly what happened so you don't make the same mistake. Because most business owners think the sale is the finish line, and in reality, it's where some of the most expensive decisions actually get made. Let me break it down. Here's where things started to break down. There was no real pre-exit tax strategy in place, no structured planning around the capital gains. So when the sale closed, they triggered over $500,000 in combined federal and tax exposure. But the real issue was not only the tax bill, it's what happened after they received the money. And this is where most founders don't realize that they're making a big mistake. So instead of staying around what they understand, what they built, instead of following patterns in where they have experience and knowledge and expertise, they engage aggressively in other opportunities where they believe they will be successful at. However, these opportunities are outside of their circle of competence. They move into new ventures like, my client's case, laundromats, childcare businesses, and import and export businesses. As I said, my client did not have experience, expertise, knowledge, research, or consultants in any of these industries. Not only that, but they invested aggressively with after-tax money into these ventures. That was a big mistake. And that's where capital starts to leak. Slowly, then all at once. There are a few clear takeaways here. First, a business exit is not just a financial event. It is also a tax event that needs to be planned in advance. Second, capital without competence increases down risk, not just upside opportunity. Like, meaning you may have the money, you may have the investors, you may have the capital. But if you don't have experience, if you don't have competence, if you don't have expertise, then you don't have edge. And then if you don't have edge, only increases the downside risk. And third, just because you are successfully built one business before, it doesn't mean that you're gonna be able to start, grow, and successfully exit another business just because you did it once. And that's one of the biggest assumptions that many entrepreneurs do make. If you're thinking about selling your business, do not wait for after the sale for you to start thinking about planning. Make sure that you have the right information, the right context always before the exit, and have the best solution, the best plan before the exit, because then you'll be able to save for taxes, which then is going to help you keep more after the liquidity event, aka money. Now, if you don't do this correctly, and if you start planning after the fact, at that point, most of your planning options are already gone.